a story that must be told from beginning to end.
Now, here's a little story I got to tell.
Here is a story about music.
The New Music Seminar 1994, Part 2, Stories About Songs.
Seminar number 8, MC and DJ Battle for World Supremacy.
Welcome back for Part 2, Stories About Songs, New Music Seminar, the MC Battle for World Supremacy, where we'll focus on 1993 and 1994, the final years of the New Music Seminar.
Come on, you could give a better response than that. Come on. All right, we are going to move on to some rapping. Gentlemen, photographers, shake hands and come out rapping.
In 93, that was when we started seeing more information. And that's the one in the semifinals. You had MF Grimm, who I believe was just going by Grim Reaper at the time, Mad Skillz, and Supernatural, where Supernatural eventually wins.
All right. The winner is Supernatural. You get the ring, you get the jacket.
And reading about that one got me really hyped. For a hot second, I regained that interest. Like, maybe I could still do this. Because at that time, even though I wasn't battling, I was doing a lot of improvisation. I was recording myself. I have I don't know how many hours of cassettes of me just throwing on beats and improvising for a side of a tape, or for whoever knows how long. I have whole tapes of me just improvising lyrics, nothing written in this time frame. So I was just doing that a lot. And so I was like, man, maybe I could still do this thing. After reading about them just describing Grim Reaper in that battle, just the description of what he was doing, and then I'm like, that sounds amazing. I want to see that, and I want to compete at that level. But again, I didn't do it. Because by then I was getting into more stuff, writing. I was writing for the Flypaper, which was a local print magazine / newspaper in Chicago. And so I was doing reviews. I did my first ever interviews I ever did with anyone was through the Flypaper. I interviewed Curious, was my first ever interview for his debut album. I interviewed him before it came out, and then I interviewed Coolio. 2 great interviews. And so that was just I was getting involved in that. But because of that, ended up pitching this idea for the Flypaper that I really love. I was really a big fan of what Bobbito was doing on the Stretch Armstrong show. He would always play demos and talk about things that was the kind of hip hop that really I was interested in. So I wanted to do a whole special on, they had Hoppo. Him and Pete Nice had Hoppo, this label. It was Hoppo Records and Hit You Off Management. And they had this great roster of artists. And I wanted to do a whole special on this whole thing, interview everyone. And it was going to take up a pretty big portion of the Flypaper. And I got it all signed off. I actually went to New York to do these interviews in 93. And I interviewed Bobbito, Elder Sensei from Artifacts, Zev Love X. It was right at the transition of I think he was still Zev Love X because it was still in the Black Besters thing, but he was doing some solo stuff, I think, when I finally interviewed him a little later.
Zev Love X. A gas face can either be a smile or a smirk when a pair's a monkey runs to work once clockwork. Perkin is built to the rim of my cup. Don't tempt me, you're empty, so fill her up.
It was the second trip I interviewed him. The Muddbones, that was Cage and Masai Bey. So I was interviewing all of them for this giant spread in the Flypaper. And the whole plan was they were going to debut this issue at the New Music Seminar 1994. And so I was going to go to New York to the seminar for the first time with my work coming out in this magazine. So I was going to be in the battle and involved that way, but I still was going to be involved in this showcase at the seminar where we did a release party for the magazine that I wrote this article on some like key upcoming groups in New York. And that was exciting and beyond, Recount Based Steve being from down south and all that. But like, it was like an exciting thing for me to like be a part in some small way of the seminar. So I did this whole thing, wrote it, submitted it, went to New York, and the people who owned Flypaper, Raymond O'Neal and Mike Shane, who recently passed away, rest in peace to the great Mike Shane, an important person in Chicago hip hop history and in general, and also for like giving me my first writing opportunity and inspiring me to push that further. I never even thought about writing for hip hop until Mike Shane and Raymond asked me to write for them. So that was like kind of how that sparked that. So they had this showcase at the seminar, you know, as a part of the seminar. It was crazy because they had Craig Mack, Notorious B.I.G, Rampage the Last Boy Scout with Busta Rhymes there with him, Keith Murray, and they had Original Flavor.
Yo, I met Chase, he got his new single coming out, and I want my man to do one verse to that shit. One verse. I just do one verse.
You know, I mentioned the Original Flavor thing in the Jay-Z episode, and they had Jay-Z. I talked about that in that episode, and this is that show. And so this was like, you know, I'm at this showcase, and it's supposed to release the magazine. I got like people were there, like, I got to mention Heart Up Tang was part of the people I interviewed. So like Artifacts are there, at least L's there, hanging out with them. Like, yeah, the magazine will be here any minute. It should be down here. And it ended up never coming out because something happened with the funding. They couldn't pay the printer, and the magazine never came out. Also in that showcase was Indigenous Theory, who was managed by Raymond and Mike of Flypaper, and that was Grav, who went on to do a record which had the first Kanye production when he was on Correct Records a few years later.
Yo, check my lyrics, roll microphones, just like bass, does speak the codes. See, when a nigga spends time in the lab, it works fast, so we giving up a check lab. That's how me and my team keep catching rap.
And also my old roommate and someone I worked with, Black Man Zeke, was part of Indigenous Theory. So all these connections were happening, and we were just kind of like the seminar. They also managed a group called Kinetic Order, who was Rob Free and Judgemental.
I take a scalpel and I make the incision. As I grab the apparatus like I grab religion. I gave my brain an abortion, the contortion and extraction of my mind caused mental distortion. It gave me tapeworms and germs.
And Rob Free, Grav, and Judgemental all entered the MC battle at the seminar. And so I got to actually go to the MC battle and get a pretty I was like in the second row seat. I had like a mini cassette recorder. I had this battle on mini cassette recorder, but it's really hard to hear anything because like mini cassette they weren't great anyway, and then the crowd's loud cheering as you would expect. So it's unusable. At one point I'll go through and listen to it. I probably can find a couple of lines and punch lines and figure things out, but it's not very usable audio wise, but I have it regardless. But one thing that was cool about it, I never got to compete in the battle, but on the ride there, I was in the back seat with Judgemental, and we were talking about I asked him, do you know who's in the battle? He was like, here's some names that that was told was supposed to be in the battle. And he mentioned like King Sun, and of course the previous year winner was Supernatural. And what the deal was, the previous winner usually wasn't in the full battle, but at the end, whoever won the current year would battle the previous year winner as an exhibition battle at the end. So the winner knew they were gonna have to battle Supernatural at the end, whoever won. And so we were just talking, and just in that conversation, I was just, oh yeah, King Sun has been somewhere before. I remember he had beef with Ice Cube here, and then oh yeah, I forgot about so and so Supernatural. He's got this beef right now with Craig G. Craig G's supposed to battle battle Supernatural. And so I was just talking about what I knew about every MC that he mentioned. And just to tell you the kind of mind that Judgemental has. He was just like talking, and we didn't say anything beyond that, just in that conversation. But in the battle, he happened to battle King Sun and win, and he happened to battle Supernatural in the exhibition where there is no winner. But he actually used a couple of those things from our conversation in the battle. I remember him saying something to King Sun about the Ice Cube thing. He actually said and it was dope because Craig G was also at the battle. He might have been in the row right. I think Craig was in the row right in front of me, off to the left. And it was one point when he's battling Supernatural where Judgemental said something like, "Why are you trying to battle me? Handle your business with Supernatural," or something. Why are you trying to battle me? Handle your business with Craig G, or something like that. And he and I remember the crowd went wild over that line. That was like the line where the people went wild. So it was like kind of cool that even though I was never in the battle, and Judgemental did not need my help in any way. I'm not saying that. It's just that from a conversation, I got to see some of those things that we talked about take place in the battle, and Judgemental won that battle. And what's special about the Judgemental win, usually people say the thing that's special is that he was from Chicago in the Midwest, and that is significant. But to me, there's one other thing that really stands out about his win. If you look at all the previous winners, Busy B, Grandmaster Cass, Melly Mel, Mikey D, Freshco, Kid Jazz, Supernatural, not all of them I would consider great writers. A lot of them are great writers, but they have personalities, like animated personalities. And that's really what is one key factor or what makes them stand out. They can dismantle people who are maybe better writers because they just have this edge in the way they convey things. Judgemental was just like, I just rap. He's not animated. He's not no special flair or nothing fancy. He's just like, I just have these lyrics. I'm going to nonchalantly give you these lyrics in a skillful way.
Heard it all before. It's a war to get more. I do work and leave this mic hurt. Fit for a skirt. The blood flow like rain across the plain where I gain. I take aim and keep it clever like I never complain. You heard it all before. Judgemental is more. I get the microphone and then I cracks the dome. It's on and on till I'm gone and it just don't quit. Off the top of the dome with that old school shit. But then I bring it right back and stay on track. Motherfuckers know the deal, yeah, they know the facts. Back in the day, when we really didn't play at the lower links, you had to come off the top of the dome with what you think or what you thought. And if you got caught slipping, well then you wasn't holding mics, you wasn't gripping. And since I'm ripping and rhyming and right on time when I grab the microphone and let you know it's on and don't stop and it will never quit. Judgemental on the mic and about to have a fit. Check it. Bring it back one time. Check it out. Once upon a time in this hip-hop community, all around the compound, you could see the unity appear to be.
And no one ever won the battle doing that. The only possibility is, I think, in 1991, MC Surge won from Cleveland. If that is accurate, he would be the only other one because Surge was a master of improvisation, freestyle, and just being nonchalant. Like he was just like, he didn't even care to be there, but he's there. So while I'm here, let me serve you. He was just so, and that was kind of similar to the style of Judgemental. I would love to see like Surge versus Judgemental. That would have been an ill battle, but it was just a rare for that kind of MC to win on, and not just at the seminar in general. Usually the people who win have some level of like entertainment value beyond the lyrics that are just like their personality, delivery, animated, whatever. And so I give props to Judgemental for that. And that whole experience was just dope because beyond the battle and the showcase, and even though the magazine never came out, I saw a lot of great stuff, met a lot of cool. I remember I got to meet Matt Skillz, who was there that year hanging out, and we were just talking. I got to like, I had my Walkman everywhere I went. I got to play him like Chicago demos. He was like, I gave him the headphones, he listened. I remember I played in Rubber Room Beneath the Surface. He was like, yo, this is raw.
Splitting mics like atoms. Unthought for MCs consume the Rubber Room antics. Belanes break facts, my theories indigenous. Invasion premises, fit on the turf of my nemesis. Close reach, the verse smoke, take 3 chokes.
And so I remember like just kicking it with Matt Skillz out there and just meeting people, like seeing like ciphers with like, Tragedy and Cool Kim, and meeting like walking by like Africa Islam, and like, You know, I didn't go to the lyricist because that same weekend is when the actual Craig G Supernatural battle happened after that. And I know it was bound to happen anyway, but I kind of feel like one of the reasons why it happened, that it was supposed to happen on the Stretch Armstrong show live, but it wound up happening at the Lyricist Lounge. I actually traveled to New York with the my boombox and blank tapes because I wanted to record. I like to record New York radio when I was out there, so I always would travel with tapes in a boombox. And so I didn't go to the Lyricist Lounge. I stayed in the hotel so I could record the battle because I heard it was going to happen. So that's why I didn't go to the Lyricist Lounge that night. I was there recording. So I have that show on tape, which later on after the battle, Craig G came by and kicked rhymes and talked about it. So I have that on tape, but I missed the actual battle.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We got my man Craig G. Yeah, ooh, I love this beat.
And I have a theory that, and it's probably not completely true, but I have this theory that the reason why it might have happened at Lyricist Lounge is because there was this growing pressure on Supernatural and just understood that battle to happen. And I think someone there at the lounge made a comment about what's up with the battle. And so Supernatural called out Craig G, asked if he was in the house. And I just I wonder if part of it was because of Judgemental saying that line that day and how that response got from the crowd. And just probably natural seeing Craig G there in the front row, you probably saw him, they were probably 3 feet apart, because I think they battled in front of the stage for some reason. They didn't even battle on the stage, I remember. I feel like it was on the floor right in front of us, they were only a few feet away. And I feel like probably that reaction of Craig laughing at that line. I remember Craig laughing at that line, and I wonder if that was okay, I gotta settle this thing. I can't be here in a situation, someone asking about it and me not at least address it. And so he called Craig out in that battle. So there was just all these things that were happening that tied to my experience where I never got to actually compete in the battle, but I got to have an experience where I feel like I was immersed in it in some way and made some connections that lasted to this day. And so that was really the importance of the new music seminar to me and to so many others. And I hope one day we get a documentary about that or a book, and I hope more of the footage comes out. And this is I don't have many things where I feel like there's a conspiracy theory, but I have one possibly about the seminar. There is this thing where a lot of these MCs were signed MCs, and a lot of times these more popular MCs lost to unknown rappers who didn't have deals, who never got deals, maybe never made records sometimes. I have this theory that I wonder if there was some label or labels that just bought that footage or just paid for it not to come out. And one reason why I say that and how I formed that is actually later. When YouTube came out, one of the things I always looked for was that was one of my primary things, look for those. To this day, that is one of the things I always check YouTube for. You can find almost every year DJ battle on YouTube, the video. Every year, pretty much, if not every year for that. You can hardly find any of the MC battles. You can find some MC battle audio that has come out. And I have a decent amount of the years audio bits and pieces at least. But it's amazing that footage has not come out. The most footage I've ever seen is in the Fresco and Miz documentary. If you haven't seen that, the Fresco and Miz documentary, you should definitely check that out. It's a great documentary, and you can see some rare footage, including Tretch battling at the seminar, battling LA Star.
Once you win the seminar, it's pretty much known in the hip-hop world. And that means the world, because the New Music Seminar went to US, Japan, Germany, all these places. So once people heard your name and that you won that battle, you were pretty much the man.
What the audience would witness on that day would be nothing less than historic.
There was stuff like that I wonder, I just wonder, it's got to be a reason why that footage has not come out ever. So hopefully one day we can figure that out and see that footage And it just so happens, because my homeboys from CMB, the Cash Money Brothers, who legendary mixtapes, Bomb Records, legendary record store out there, in the Chicago area. And they were out there with videotape and they recorded this stuff. And he ended up giving me a copy of that. So right after this, I had a copy, I have a copy of the Correct G Supernatural Battle, because I got it from CMB, from Ruben from CMB, Chaos One from CMB. Like in the movie, the documentary Freestyle, one of the I'm pretty sure, one of the angles in there, that battle, is from that tape. Because I remember the guys reached out to me about it from Freestyle, and I can't remember if they actually used it, but I sent them the footage, and I think if you see two different angles in that, because they had one angle and they were looking for other angles. If there's more than one angle, it's possibly that came directly from that tape that I got from Ruben Chaos One from CMB. So it's just like the story kind of kept going on, and how I had loose involvement in that whole experience, from the seminar to the Correct G Supernatural Battle to all these things. And so I got to kind of experience my dream in a completely different way. And this all leads to how my connection with Zev Love X and MF Doom kind of started, but that's a story for another time. But before I get out of here, as we mentioned earlier, Kinetic Order, that's Rob Free and Judgemental, they are one of my favorite early 90s rap groups, period. I know them from connecting in Chicago, but just in general, they just made great music. They had a great live show, just dope beats, dope rhymes, dope concepts. And the first demo I got from them, circa 92, is one of my favorite demos I've ever heard, and something I still listen to regularly. Songs Swing, The Circus, which the beat is in the background right now, The Circus, Deconstruct, $3 Hip Hop Show, and The Third Rail. And those were the first 5 songs I got on demo tape from them. And I got a couple other songs they did for the album that never released, Bug Juice. And I'm not sure what it's called, but the hook is We Turned It Out. So I'm not sure, maybe it's called Turn It Out, something like that. But every song they ever made that I ever heard was dope. So I'm a big fan of Kinetic Order. And I know that these songs exist in quality form. I just confirmed this within a year or so ago, that they exist on DAT tapes and what have you. So I'm hoping that we'll still eventually see this great music released, and I'm trying to will it into existence. Judgemental did some solo stuff after the Kinetic Order, and he had some solo music as well. Rob Free wound up moving back to Dallas, and he still makes music to this day. And all that time, from Kinetic Order to now, he's been working with his cousin, who just so happens to be Erykah Badu. So he's a guy with a lot of history beyond the Kinetic Order, all the way up to now. So a little background. Here's Kinetic Order. I'm gonna let you hear this full demo of one of those tracks, Swing, Stories About Songs, Stories About Songs, Stories About Songs.
Swing low, swing high, swing low, swing high, swing low, swing high, swing low,
swing high, swing low like a chariot. I'm about to take you underground like Harriet Tubman. Rubber W scrub and hey diddle diddle, plus a middle finger to the clan, or any tan with that state of mind. Tap dance on that behind and form a line on mankind, or should I say a kind of man that's out there trying to front like he's grand. I'm getting on your Nirvana white, I'm kinda hype, but not fool enough to fly a kite when it's thundering. But like Ben, I'm in. Back in the day, Mike made him a friend, but a rat is a rat, and you can't trust that. And never ever turn your back on a black savage, cause I just might stab it in the grit and tar pits. I'll ravage and pillage. I'm coming to your village through the picket fence, busting much grillage, dude. I'm gnarly, kicking over Harley, stomping with my troops in boots apart.
Swing high, swing low, swing high, swing low, swing high.
has you stuck like static. I got you clinging cause I'm sticky like jelly. The jam will get you hotter than a girl named Shelly. Sharp as a razor, I'll trim the fat off your belly. Shake your head like Telly, who loves your baby? But I stay cool like Arthur Fonzarelli. Coming across like the man, I'm grand when I'm slamming. And just like a midterm exam, I'm cramming. It's crunch time, baby, can we do lunch sometime? Eating up suckers because it's lunchtime. Jamming like Jordan, check the style I'm sporting. Looky, 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 one's tall, one's short. Swinging on them, driving them crazy like Daisy. The color purple, like Hendrix, I got you hazy, now you're dizzy. Slaving to the rhythm like Kizzy. I like to break them up, they get broke when I get busy. I got a feeling that I'm gonna let my flow go, so take it to the top and swing low.
Swing high, swing low. Swing high, swing low. Swing high, swing low. Swing high, swing low. Swing!
In a rage like Luke Cage on a comic page as I advance in a trance to the next stage of the matter. On the field I hear a lot of chatter. You better duck when they yell.
Swing better.
Cause the bigger the stick, the harder the hit. And when shit gets thick, you get lit with a lyrical brick. It's getting bleak like Gilliam, but still I'm grilling them and killing them with skill. I'm drilling them so that they understand when I grandstand that it's all really part of my game plan. To be the man when the staff is in the hand. Drop science and math on the clan. Logarithms, race divisions and square roots. Plus asphalt, agriculture, and black boots. Equal bulletproofs for the troops. And in dealing with the adversary, no zoot suits. All the glitter and gold is getting old. Making a meal looking doo-doo mildew to mold. Crusty, rusty puffs that can't flow. Catch a jig and jump by his toe, then you know ya.
Swing high, swing low. Swing high, swing low. Swing high, swing low. Swing high, swing low.
Like the truth, I'll set you free like open cages. Grabbing a hold of the mic to flip scripts and rip stages apart. From end to end, I'm shredding heads to bits and pieces. I fold your mind like jeans with creases. From the pressure that I gave, your head will cave in. What you want's what you got, that's what you get for misbehaving. So sound off 1, 2, sound off 1, 2, and I won't stop a drop off while I'm pursuing greatness. It takes a lot of weight to break this structure. You couldn't even try cause you're weightless. Try not to drip, don't trip or even wonder. I just work out and get busy like Jane Fonda. I roar like thunder, it seems quite frightening. You make a move, I'll strike you down like lightning. So turn out the light when the party's over. Pull the string, I'll do my thing with swing and bossa nova. And even if I blunt the beat, you can't catch it. So play like Rover and go fetch it. Swinging like George on the vine when I flow. Over and I'm out, so swing high, swing low.
Swing high, swing low. Swing high, swing low. Swing high, swing low. Swing high, swing low. Swing high, swing low. Swing high, swing low. Swing high, swing low. Swing high, swing low. Swing!
Stony Island Audio.